What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with NIO, Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's happening with the market thus far, what's going on with next week as you have lots of economic data coming out, and what you should be watching for as time progresses. But before I break anything down, this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo with the link down below and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed up to 15 free stocks, and the offer ends very, very soon. Anyways, now let's break down what's going on with NIO. So when it comes to NIO, basically when you look at the 4-hour time frame, you can see that NIO is approaching the 50 EMA, and we're actually getting closer to it as time goes on. Now, NIO is approaching the 50 EMA, and it's going to be very important to watch and see how it ends up reaching that level and how it ends up trying to hold up if we do end up getting a test very close to that area. But for now, I'm going to be talking about more details about the markets in NIO before I break down other things like that. But first, let's just talk about this news right here. So for NIO, they're continuing to give a shout out to the EL6. That is one of their most famous vehicles right now. And they're actually showing lots of screenshots in countries such as Norway, where you can see that they're just driving it all over the place. They're showing it has lots of cargo space, lots of joys when it comes to just driving it. And it looks very, very cool. So that's very awesome for NIO. Very, very cool stuff. On top of this, there's also this news right here that NIO stock has declined, but you have to remember that NIO is not the only company that's declining like this, right? There are companies like Tesla who have very strong fundamentals long term, who are also tanking because of what happened for the short term, right? Because of short-term projections and their outlooks and such. Now, for a company like NIO, I just want to make it clear that this just shows that there could be things outside of NIO's control, things that happen which NIO was not basically responsible for. And when things like this happen, the best thing to do is just kind of accept it and just know that when you have faith in the company's long-term projections, they're going to be fine. They're going to do very well anyways. And you shouldn't let this get the best of you and your views, in my honest opinion. So that's kind of like the way I've been seeing it. So I'm not really losing faith in NIO for that reason. One thing worth noting is when you go onto Tesla's share price, you look at the 4-hour time frame, Tesla has been, sinking, right? It used to be at 265 a share right before the year started. Just a few weeks ago, this thing was in the 250s. Just a few days ago, it was at 200. Now it's barely at 180 a share. So, not trying to criticize Tesla. I think that Elon Musk is brilliant. I think Tesla's incredible. But the reason why I'm calling Tesla out like this and showing you guys that the share price has just dropped and dropped and dropped is because the truth is, there are things happening outside of Tesla's control which are affecting them. Tesla's also entering new growth phases, and they're kind of slowing down production because of that, because they're preparing for new models and such. And there are other factors as well, but the biggest factor would be a slowdown in demand, not as much production as many would have anticipated. Different supply chains are playing somewhat of a role, and all these different factors are just coming together and making things more difficult for them. But a big factor would be the macroeconomic factors that are outside of Tesla's control. And a company that's kind of like in a very similar boat in this is NIO, because there's so much happening outside of NIO's control as well. NIO is still a great company. It has so much potential. With all this bad news coming out, there's not really much NIO can do about it. So that's the honest truth, guys. Not trying to be a negative Nancy. I'm just trying to tell you guys how things are basically looking. Now, as far as, let me go back to this right here. As far as earnings go, please know that for Monday, we have SoFi's earnings and just a couple of others. For Tuesday, we have Pfizer, GM, and just a few others before market open. And then after market close, we have Microsoft and AMD and Alphabet. So big tech are going to be announcing a lot of earnings on Tuesday. Wednesday is going to be very minor. We just have like Boeing and a few others. And then for Thursday, we have Apple, Amazon, and Meta all announcing earnings the same day, possibly very close to the same times as well, which is pretty insane. So we have a lot of big earnings coming out. I also want to note that for Wednesday, the last day of January, we have something big coming out. We have the FOMC meeting. We have Jerome Powell giving a speech. With Powell giving his speech, you never know what's going to happen. This guy is known for being very, very he's basically going to say whatever is best for him and the Fed, but you want to be very careful with Jerome Powell. He can shake the whole markets, so be prepared for that. NIO looking at their financial estimates and such, they're getting downgrades from BOA, which is Bank of America Securities. The price-price ratio is dropping as news looking relatively weak. And we tend to see lots of volatility around noon, 2 p.m., and also around the second to last hour of the trading day. So that's very important, at least for companies like NIO. I also wanted to add that when it comes to their overall views, the volume was at about 40 million. So that's actually a little bit below average. It's only up about 1.6%, not really much. What helped NIO bounce would be Tesla. Tesla did play a pivotal role in helping NIO move the way it did. So the question is, what's going to happen to NIO? Now let's just break down some technicals real quick. Right now, when you look at the 4-hour time frame, NIO has a potential inverse head and shoulders like structure right here. We have this like left shoulder here. We have a right shoulder form. We're also starting to curl here. The 4-hour looks like it's going to push a little higher towards 6.25. If that breaks, 6.43 to 6.5 is coming next. So could NIO push more? In my opinion, yes. I think NIO is going to try to push, especially when you look at the daily. The daily looks like it's going to try to get back to at least 6.5. Looking for a small bounce on it. Other stocks like Tesla were very, very oversold. They got decimated after their earnings. Tesla's attempting to rebound, so watch it very carefully. It could be slowly making its way up, just very, very slowly, kind of creeping its way back up. SPY is looking a little indecisive on the daily, so you want to be a little bit careful with this. This could actually retrace a bit towards 485 again if we do continue to slow. We have a doji forming on the daily, so generally when these form, you want to be like really careful. So I just wanted to warn you guys about that. With the doji forming, be very careful with that on SPY. Those could be very, very tricky when they develop, so watch that very carefully. As far as Tesla goes, Tesla on the daily, it's looking kind of weak, but here's the thing about it. Although it's looking a little bit weak, it's still trying to base at 180. So if we lose 180, 175 is coming next. If we try to break out, if we get above 186, our next target is going to be around 188. So we will see if Tesla tries to rebound. I'm going to be watching the 4-hour to see if this could curl. I'll be watching that very carefully on Tesla. Besides that, for the QQQ, this is looking a little bit weaker. I want to be a little bit careful with the QQQ because the 4-hour is showing a potential head and shoulders. This looks like a left shoulder, head and right shoulder. Could this thing start turning back down? It's a real possibility. We'll see if it ends up coming back down towards 420. So watch that very carefully and see if we're about to see something, a big switch in the markets. Also, Nvda got this big pump to 630. Now it's kind of slowing down a little bit. If we lose 607, it's going to start retracing back down towards 600. Be very careful. Nvda looks like it could start sinking because of the fact that it's still in that phase, because of the fact that it's still just holding up. So with that being said, thank you all so much for listening. Please have an absolutely spectacular weekend. NIO, in my opinion, has potential to bounce and push a little bit more. So do some stocks like Tesla, but SPY and others looking kind of weak. I think we might see the EVs outperform just temporarily, and then things could change later. But until then, I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you for listening. Have a great day, and peace out.